Hello everyone, this is Aryan Thakkar, your coach and mentor, and welcome back to my YouTube channel on Aryan Tutorials, where in this video, we are going to take up the Act 3 Scene 2 of Macbeth. Now, I presume आपने Act 3 Scene 1 का video देख लिया. Everything is clear over there. So if you haven't watched that video, then I'm going to leave the video's link in my description below. First go, check that video out, usko complete kariye, and then you come back to this video for the continuation of scene 2 of Act 3. Now, in the previous scene, we had seen that Macbeth he prepares to get Banquo and Fleance murdered. Owing to the witch's prophecy regarding Banquo's descendant, that Banquo shall father a royal lineage. Now, this particular scene becomes an extension to that scene where we once again get to meet Lady Macbeth, and she is seen a little disillusioned in this particular scene in contrast to the kind of personality she upheld in Act 1, Scene 2, where she was more of an active kind of a character and she was quite dominating of nature as well. Because through her pressing onto Macbeth, Macbeth committed the act of regicide, that is murdering King Duncan. But right now she's sitting here as a very passive character. वो काफी ज्यादा खोई हुई है and she is lost in her own thoughts. She is wondering कि हमने जो भी किया है after killing King Duncan, after committing the regicide, हमने सोचा था कि हमें बहुत खुशियां मिलेंगी, we'll be at peace. But actually, everything turned out to be opposite of that what she had thought. ठीक है? And that is why she's sitting here over here, disillusioned. She's all exhausted, and she she desires to meet her husband Macbeth. To which she tells her servant कि जाके Macbeth को बुला के लेके आओ, मुझे उनसे मिलना है. And then in her soliloquy, she expresses knots had all spent. So it is nothing that they have achieved, but everything that they have lost after attaining the kingly position, after attaining the throne of Scotland as a king and as a queen. Macbeth as a king and Lady Macbeth as a queen. So she expresses her dissatisfaction over this fact that even though उन्होंने इतना कुछ किया, they drowned their hands into bloodshedding, but उसके बाद भी उन्होंने जिस peace का सपना देखा था, that they had thought about, actually it never came off as true. Macbeth meanwhile comes in the scene, and both the husband and wife, they confide in each other. They share a conversation in which Macbeth expresses his fear for Banquo and Fleance owing to the witch's prophecy. To which she says that, you don't need to worry. They are just mortal creatures. And that is what Macbeth catches as a word, that yes, they are assailable. They can be assassinated. Unhe mara ja sakta hai. And he starts invoking all the negatives and dark entities of the night to come and cover up the deed, to hide the deed, which takes us back to the themes of appearance versus reality, to mask up the tender eye of pitiful day. वो आपका लाइन है, यहां से उठाएगा कि he is invoking the darkness to come and engulf the light in it, so that the dreadful deed which is about to be committed, which is of Banquo and Fleance's murder, it does not come out to open. Lady Macbeth questions who is he planning to murder, to which Macbeth keeps things to himself and he doesn't want to express this openly. Maybe because Macbeth sees that Lady Macbeth is inwardly troubled and he doesn't want her to, put more troubles and traumas onto her. And second thing, it could also be that now, since Macbeth is sitting at a position where his throne and his kingly position is a bit insecure, and he's dwelling upon insecurity, owing to which he trusts nobody at this moment, not even his own wife, and therefore he decides to keep things to himself until the deed is accomplished. So this scene marks the beginning of drifting away of their marital relationship as well, where both the husband and wife, where they were coupled together in the previous scene while committing the act of regicide, that is Duncan's murder, we get to see that slowly and steadily both the husband and wife, they are drifting apart from each other, where they now act independently, where Macbeth earlier required Lady Macbeth's pressing domination support to commit regicide. Now he is drowned into bloodshedding so much that he independently prepares to get Banquo and Flean's murder to secure his kingly position. ठीक है? So this scene captures, encapsulate the mental trauma that they are going through. They are feeling inwardly troubled and they are paranoid at this particular moment. So chalo, let's get started. So Act 3, Scene 2, scene takes place in the palace in Foz, where Lady Macbeth is sitting. She asks her servant, enter Lady Macbeth and the servant, she asks her servant that, is Banquo gone from the court? Has Banquo left the castle? To which servant says, madam, but returns again tonight. Yes, he has left, but again he has said that he'll be returning tonight. Lady Macbeth, say to the king I would attend his leisure for a few words. Inform Macbeth, tell your king, tell your master, that I want to share some words. I want to talk with him for a while. If he has some spare time to spare with me, okay, to have a conversation with me. So say to the king I would attend his leisure. I would like to speak to him at his free time for a few words. Madam, I will do so. Exit. Lady Macbeth. Now, this soliloquy is extremely important because this soliloquy captures Lady Macbeth's repentance, her remorse, her regret after having committed Duncan's murder. Lady Macbeth, knots had all spent, where our desire is got without content. It is safer to be that which we destroy than by the destruction dwell in doubtful joy. Now she's saying that knots had all spent. So it is nothing that they have achieved and rather everything that they have spent, they had traded. So she's talking about trading of their peace of mind, their eternal jewel, that is their soul, their peace of mind, for achieving something which is actually no more bringing them any comfort or joy. Okay? So nothing is gained, rather everything is spent, everything has been traded after committing Duncan's murder. Where our desire is got, so where their ichhaएं, desires, their wishes are fulfilled, but without any satisfaction, without any mental peace, without content, okay? Without any happiness. It is safer, and then she is lamenting, she is regretting her past actions and past decision, saying that it would have been better if we ourselves would have died rather than killing someone, drowning our hands in bloodshedding, to whom we sent the person to peace, into the rest in peace, permanent sleep, to gain our peace. But actually it is not the peace that we have gained by committing murder, by crimsoning our hands. Okay? So it is safer to be that with which we destroyed. It would have been better if we ourselves would have got murdered than by the destruction, than by the murder that we have committed to dwell in the doubtful joy. So even though we have achieved joy, we have attained joy, we have become the king and queen, but that joy is doubtful. So we are dwelling in insecurities, and iski wajah se it is like, knots had all spent. So it is not anything that we have gained, rather we have lost our peace of mind. That is what she is conveying. So she is no more at peace, and she has become after she has become the queen, but her pride and love for Macbeth, see, she needs to show that she is a dominating character, and therefore she will not express her inward troubles, her internal trouble openly with Macbeth, which foreshadows, which takes us to the sleepwalking scene where Lady Macbeth will be so much troubled by her guilt and paranoia that she'll start walking in her sleep. ठीक है? So it foreshadows to that scene जो हम लोग आगे करेंगे. Enter Macbeth. उतना में Macbeth enter करता है. How now, my lord? Why do you keep alone of sorriest fancies your companion making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died? With them they think on things without all remedy should be without regard. What's done is done. So how are you, my lord? How now, my lord? How are you, my lord? Why do you keep alone? So why do you keep loneliness as your companion? You are keeping all thoughts of yours, your inner thoughts of yours, your troubled thoughts of yours as your companion. कि आप सिर्फ अपनी सोच के साथ ही घूमते रहते हो, and you do not express your thought process openly to me or to anyone anymore. ठीक है? So why do you keep alone? Why do you keep yourself aloof, अकेले, and brooding over of sorriest fancy, and you keep unhappy thoughts, sorriest fancy, sorriest means unhappy, and fancies means thought, as your companion. So आपके सारे negative thoughts को आप अपने साथ रखते हो, which should indeed have died, जो कि अभी तक शायद मर जाने चाहिए, वो thoughts के बारे में सोचने का कोई जरूरत नहीं है. So can you see there is a little bit of dramatic irony over here that Lady Macbeth herself is inwardly troubled, but still she tries to preserve her dominating personality in front of Macbeth, saying that, just forget about what has happened. So do not keep rethinking about all those things which you have done, because what's done is done. Whatever has happened, it cannot be undone. Okay? So using those thoughts, you keep thinking about those negative thoughts of murder, which should indeed have died. It should have buried with the person to whom you sent to grave. That is true, King Duncan. With them, they think on things without all remedy. Those things which cannot be undone. Remedy means which cannot be recovered. Should be without regard. They should not be taken care of. Like they should not, it is of no use to think about those things which cannot be undone. ठीक है, जिसको हम लोग रिकवर बैक नहीं कर सकते. व्हाट्स डन इज डन. जो हो चुका है वो हो चुका है, उसे भूल जाओ. उसके बारे में सोच के कोई फायदा नहीं है. Macbeth, very important. He uses the animal imagery, that is the imagery of scorpion, to express his inward troubles. ठीक है, his internal trouble. We have scotched the snake, not killed it. She'll close and be herself, whilst our poor Malice remains in danger of her former tooth. But let the frame of things disjoint, and both the worlds suffer, ere we will eat our meal in fear and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. Better be with the dead, whom we to gain our peace have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind to lie in the restless ecstasy. Duncan is in his grave, and after life's fitful fever he sleeps well. Treason has done his worst. Nor steel, nor poison, malice, domestic, foreign, levy, nothing can touch him further. So he says that we have just wounded, that we have just hurt the snake, we have not killed it yet. So he's talking about the snake, the reptile imagery that he is using. He is expressing it towards Banquo. He's talking about, okay, that we have scotched the snake, not killed it. So it is like the seeds of suspicion has been sown. So Macbeth knows somewhere that Banquo is a little bit suspicious of Macbeth, that he has attained the titles by wrongdoings, because Banquo was there when the witches had greeted Macbeth in prophecies regarding him becoming the king. So that is why he's saying that we have scotched the snake, not fully killed it, where she'll close and be herself. So once that snake heals itself, she is going to be of dangerous. She is going to impose a lot of dangers onto us. वो हमारे लिए आगे जाके खुद को ठीक करके ये सांप हमारे लिए खतरनाक साबित होगा. एंड जिसकी वजह से विल स्टार पुअर मैलिस, तब तक हमारा जो किंगली पोजीशन है, द थ्रोन ऑफ अस एज किंग एंड क्वीन, इट इज एट एन अनस्टेडी एंड अनस्टेबल पोजीशन. सो ही इज फीलिंग इनसिक्योर ऑफ हिज थ्रोन. ठीक है, ऑफ हिज पावर्स. सो आवर पुअर मैलिस, his power to harm remains in danger. So it is in the constant fear of a former tooth of the fangs. Tooth means of the fangs of the snake, which is going to somewhere come to snap at us, to bite at us. But before that happens, before the snake attacks us, basically before their act of regicide comes to forefront before others, he wishes that let the frame of things disjoint and both the worlds suffer. Frame of things refers to the natural orders of nature. ठीक है, the natural orders of things. He says that before anything such happens, I would want that whatever the natural order in the world is, let it disjoin, means let it just collapse, and let both the world suffer. Both the world he refers to as his earth, material world, earthly world, and he's talking about the heaven up there. ठीक है, and both the world suffer. Otherwise, what will happen? Ere we will eat our meal in fear and sleep. Otherwise, in perpetual anxiety, in fear and sleeplessness, we have to dwell upon, we have to reside upon. In the affliction of these terrible dreams, and we will be constantly affected by nightmares. हमें बुरे ख्वाब, बुरे सपने, सारे नेगेटिव थॉट्स के साथ हमें अपना पूरा जीवन बिताना पड़ेगा. Whom we to gain our peace have sent to peace. एंड क्योंकि जिसको हमने परमानेंट पीस में भेजा, दैट ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट डंकन, जिसको उसने और लेडी मैकबेथ ने मिल के मारा है अपने पीस के लिए, एक्चुअली वो उन्हें कोई पीस प्रोवाइड करेगा नहीं अगर he does not take any step to secure his kingly position. That is what he is talking about. So whom we to gain our peace have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind is to lie in the restless ecstasy. Or else our mind is going to be on rack, R-A-C-K. रैक का मतलब होता है इट इज एन इंस्ट्रूमेंट जिसमें आपके हाथ और पैरों को बांध दिया जाता है, दोनों तरफ से रस्सी को घुमाया जाता है ताकि आपके हाथ और पैर स्ट्रेच हो, खिंचाए, एंड उससे इंसान की मौत हो जाती है. सो इट्स अ वे ऑफ punishing someone, sentencing someone to death. So he's talking about that his mind is at rack, it is at torture, in the restless ecstasy, means in a deep state of pain and anguish. So Macbeth is like, if we do not take any step to secure our position, secure our throne as king and queen, so it's like we are going to dwell in pain, in anguish, in sleeplessness and in anxiety. ठीक है. And then he talks about Duncan and he envies Duncan. वो थोड़ा सा उसको जलन हो रहा है मैकबेथ को डंकन से, क्योंकि डंकन आफ्टर हिज सोल हैज डिपार्टेड, डंकन को जब उन्होंने परमानेंटली उसके ग्रेव में भेज दिया, ही इज सेइंग दैट डंकन इज इन हिज ग्रेव एंड ही इज कंसिडरिंग दैट ग्रेव एज हैप्पी. ठीक है, इट्स लाइक अ प्रिविलेज टू डंकन that Duncan is in his grave. After his life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. So Duncan is free of any agitation or any irritation or any troubles of life. See, when we are in life, we go through a lot of ups and downs in our life. And after we have crossed that phase and when we lie in our grave, that is when we meet our death, we are free of any kind of pressure and pain which life inflicts upon us. Okay? So he's talking about that Duncan is free of all the sorrows and pains of life, where after life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. He is in the rest of sleep state permanently. So, and Macbeth acknowledges this fact. He realizes this fact that Tratian has done his worst. He knows that he was treacherous. उसने deceit से, धोखे से डंकन को मारा है. So he knows this. This shows that he is mentally, inwardly, he's troubled. He's getting paranoid, and he is descending into madness. ये दिखा रहा है. So he knows that treachery has done his worst. उसने अपना सबसे खराब काम किया है by killing graceful Duncan, someone who was noble of a character. And after his death, अब कुछ भी हो जाए, चाहे वो स्टील हो, स्टील मतलब he's talking about the weapons, ठीक है, the dagger, तलवार. So neither steel nor poison, malice domestic means घर के अंदर ही कोई अगर आपके रिबेल करे, rebellion means कोई विद्रोह करे आपके खिलाफ, that is malice domestic. और foreign levy means foreign invasion, कि कोई दूसरा राज्य हमारे ऊपर अटैक कर दे, that is foreign levy. Nothing can touch him further. So Duncan is not going to be affected by any kind of external troubles after his death. And Macbeth knows this fact that it is him and Lady Macbeth who, being treacherous, they have sent Duncan to the state of death, to his grave, and after that Duncan cannot be touched upon, and he feels envious of Duncan that he is free of all worldly troubles. He is envying this fact. Come on, gentle my lord. Come on, relax, Macbeth. Sleek over your rugged looks. Please conceal your rugged looks. Do not show that. Do not make it obvious by your face that you are troubled. Rather, mask up your face with, a delightful appearance and with smiles on your face. So sleek over your rugged look means conceal, hide your face with that of a happy one. Be bright and jovial. Look a little sociable, bright. ठीक है, कि बाहर से थोड़े अच्छे दिखो. Do not look troubled. Do not keep that troubled appearance on your face. And jovial, look happy among your guests tonight. Make sure that you do not express your thought process, the troubled thoughts which you are going through right now. Make sure not to express it for tonight's banquet. ठीक है. So shall I love, and so I pray be you. I will do, so I know that I have to do it. So this is taking us to the theme of appearance versus reality, right? So in reality, they are inwardly troubled, but again, they have to maintain a facade. They have to maintain a pretense in front of the guest to prevent that suspicion which might fall on them. But no matter how hard they try, आगे जाके होगा ही. Wait for the banquet scene, बहुत मजा आएगा उसमें. So shall I love, and so I pray be you. I will do exactly the same, and I request you to do the same. Let your remembrance apply to Banquo. Please make sure that you take good care of Banquo. I find this a little bit ironical that even though Macbeth has got it all sorted, still he is keeping things to himself, not expressing it very openly to Lady Macbeth that he has planned Banquo and Fleance's murder. So he is like, take extra care of Banquo. Just treat him like the guest of honor, like the apple of an eye of everyone in today's feast, in today's banquet. Apply to Banquo. present him with eminence, show him the highest rank and the respect that, so that he feels extraordinary among all other guests. ठीक है? Just treat him with extravaganza, I would say. Both with eye and with your tongue. Means take great note of him, like, be extremely hospitable to him. उसका सबसे ज्यादा ध्यान रखना among all other guests, and उसको बीच बीच में compliments देते रहना. So treat him sweetly with your eye and with your words. Because unsafe the while that we must have our honors in these flattering streams and make our faces wizards to our hearts, disguising what they are. So until and unless, we are dwelling upon this insecure state, in this insecure position, that, Banco is a little bit suspicious of us having attained the throne by some foul means. So our position is insecure. So we are unsafe, and therefore we have to use flattery. हमें flatter करना पड़ेगा Banco को बार बार to secure our position as king and queen, and to, just to wash off that suspicions falling upon us. So उसको हटाने के लिए it is necessary for us to use flattery. हमें मक्खनबाजी करना पड़ेगा थोड़ा सा बैंकों को, ताकि हम लोग सेफ रहे अपने पोजीशन में, अपने पावर में. So unsafe the while that we must have honors in these flattering streams and make our faces wizards. We have to mask up our faces and our hearts, disguising of what they are. So even though faces पे we have to put up a facade, we have to look, very happy and very mingling and jovial. But even though our heart is corrupted, we have committed the act of regicide, we need to mask it by using flattery. That is what he says. ठीक है? Lady Macbeth, you must leave this. Please do not think about all this. Oh, full of scorpion is my mind, dear wife. Thou knowest that Banquo and his Fleance lives. So, his mind is full of scorpion. It implies that his mind is troubled. He is inwardly feeling troubled and he is paranoid. And he is using this reptile imagery, that is the imagery of scorpion. And I find it a bit ironical as well, because it is Macbeth who has acted that like of a scorpion. And he has stung back onto Duncan. And right now he's also planning about Banquo and Fleance's murder. But still he's saying that his mind is full of scorpion. His mind is inwardly troubled. So that is a little bit of dramatic irony over here, my dear wife. You know that Banquo and Fleance, they live. तुम जानती हो कि वो लोग अभी भी जिंदा है. But in them, nature's copy not etern. Now she says that even though they are alive, but in the laws of nature, in the nature's copy, they are not etern. Etern means they will not live forever. They will not live perpetual. यानी they are not immortal. वो लोग हमेशा हमेशा के लिए जिंदा नहीं रहेगा, कभी ना कभी तो मरेगा. And there he catches the word comfort, saying that when Lady Macbeth said that they in the laws of nature, they are not eternal, so they can be killed. So there he says that there's a comfort yet, and it is a comforting thought that, they cannot live perpetually, they cannot live forever, so they can be assassinated, they can be killed. And they are assailable, means they are vulnerable to attacks, they can be killed, they can be assassinated. Then be thou jocund, then you don't need to worry, be joyful, because now he is invoking all the dark entities, that is all the nocturnal creatures which are associated with something dreadful, something bad and something ominous. कि कुछ खराब होने वाला है. तो he says that ere the bat had flown his cloistered flight, and ere to the black Hecate summons the shard-born beetle with his drowsy hums, hath rung the night's yawning peal, there shall be done a deed of dreadful note. So he says that isse pehle, the nocturnal creatures, that is bat, and bat is indicative of something dark which is going to happen. कुछ बुरा होगा. तो इससे पहले कि bat had flown means had taken its flight, of his cloistered flight. Now cloistered refers to as secretive, something secretive which is not to be done in openly. So that is indicating that, he has already prepared, he has already planned Banquo and Fleance's murder. And इससे पहले कि bat अपना secretive flight ले, या इससे पहले कि Hecate is the goddess of witchcraft. She is the mistress of all the spells and witchcraft on which the witches used to cast, chaos and destruction onto others. So she is the source of all the spells which are used by, she is the source of power for all other witches. So before Hecate, before the goddess of witchcraft, summons means calls upon the shard bone beetle. Now shard refers to as hard winged, ठीक है, जिसके पंख थोड़े से a little bit hard it is. Shard bone beetle with his drowsy hum. So before she calls upon the beetle to hum, and beetle's hum is going to call upon it, it is going to be indicative, it's going to be a ringing bell of the night's yawning peal. So beetle's humming is going to signal the approaching of the night time. Before that happens, there shall be done, usse pehle a deed shall be committed, and that deed is going to be of a dreadful note. This line is very important because he's talking about the image of a nightfall, that before the night comes, before the night approaches, उससे पहले एक dreadful deed, he is making a declaration कि कुछ बुरा होगा उससे पहले, and that declaration is about Banquo and Fleance's murder, which he has got it sorted in the previous scene. ठीक है? Lady Macbeth does not understand what is he talking about. So she asks him, what is to be done? What are you planning to do? To which Macbeth does not want to openly reveal it to her, saying that be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck, till thou applaud the deed. Come, sealing night, scarf up the tender eye of the pitiful day with thy bloody and invisible hand. Cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale. Light thickens, and the crow makes their wing to the rooky wood. Good things of day begin to droop and drowse, while the night's black agents to their praise do rouse. Thou marvelest at my words, behold thee still. Things bad begun make strong themselves by ill. So Prithi, go with me. So he says that please be ignorant. Please be innocent of the knowledge. You don't need to know what I'm planning to do. Be ignorant of what I have planned to get it done, dearest Chuck. Now, dearest Chuck is like, he's conveying his love towards Lady Macbeth, saying that it is like a term of endearment. ठीक है कि मेरी प्यारी वाइफ, तुम अभी कुछ मत सोचो, कुछ मत जानो कि क्या होने वाला है. Till thou applaud the deed, till you celebrate the accomplishment of the act which I am preparing for. And then he's once again invoking all the darkness of the night and engulf that darkness to thicken its darkness before that deed is to be committed. So come, sealing night, he's invoking the darkness of the night to come and engulf the dreadful deed, to strengthen the dreadful deed with thy bloody and invisible hand, and with your bloody. So he's like, he has already drowned in bloodshedding by committing Duncan. Now, in order to maintain his kingly position, since he murdered Duncan to acquire the throne to become the king of Scotland, and in order to maintain his position, he is going to drown into more bloodshedding, that is getting Banquo and Fleance murdered. So, with thy bloody and invisible hand, cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale. Now, great bond is referred to as the bond of life. हम लोग पहले से ही भगवान के साथ, कुदरत के साथ अपना एक बॉन्ड लिख के आए हैं, that for this much amount of time we are going to be on earth, we are going to lead our life, and again we will go back to the heaven or to hell, depending upon our karmas, depending upon our deeds. So, he's telling that night, he's personifying night, saying that you come and with your bloody and with your dark hand, invisible hand, because रात के समय में whatever deed is to be committed, it will not come out in open to others. No one will get to know that. Cancel and tear to pieces. Destroy that bond. He's talking about Banquo's life bond. So come and tear the pieces of that bond of Banquo's lease of life on earth, which keeps me pale, which makes me sick in his presence till the moment he lives. I feel sick of his living. Light thickens, so light is thickening, now it's getting darker, and the crow makes their wing to the rooky woods. Now crow are going back to its state of slumber, back to the woods. Woods means to the jungle. So crow are returning back, they are resorting back to the wood, and good things of the day begin to droop and drowse. So it is during the daytime, all the good acts which are to be committed, now they are coming to a cease. They are coming to a halt. They are stopping to happen. And while the night black agents, that is the predators are those that prey on, that feed on, other living creatures, that prey do rouse, that go about their hunting, they are rising up. Why are you marveling? Why are you wrapped in surprise and amazement? Why are you looking at me like this? ठीक है, at my words, but hold these still. Be patient till the deed is accomplished, because last line is extremely important. Things bad begun make strong themselves by ill. So once we have stepped into doing evil, doing bad things, it is going to strengthen itself by committing more and more of evil. So एक बार कोई चीज की शुरुआत जो बुराई से होती है, it secures itself, it strengthens itself by committing more and more of evil, more and more of dark things. So एक बार जो बुरे कर्मों को शुरू कर दिया, वो बुरे कर्मों से ही खत्म हो सकता है. That is what he's talking about. That bad things which starts through bad deeds, they breed onto the evil only. So बुराइयां कभी भी अच्छाई के साथ ड्वेल नहीं कर सकती है. एक बार हम लोग जो बुराई में उतर चुके हैं, तो हमें और बुराई करनी पड़ेगी अपनी पोजीशन को मेंटेन करने के लिए. दैट इज व्हाट ही इज सेइंग. सो पृथ्वी, प्लीज गो विथ मी, कम विथ मी. So here we come to the end of Act 3, Scene 2 of Macbeth, where we get to see that Macbeth has already prepared for Banquo and Cleance's murder, and now he is invoking all the darkness to come and provide him with the strength which is required to get Banquo and Cleance killed. And he declares, he makes a very chilling declaration in the end, that things which are bad begun once. एक बार जो चीजें बुराई से शुरू हुई है, it is going to strengthen itself up by committing more and more of evil. उन्हें और बुराई करनी पड़ेगी. So once they have drowned their hands into bloodshedding, they need to commit more murders, and they have to further drown their hands into blood in order to maintain their kingly position as king and queen. ठीक है? So here we come to an end, and I hope you are liking my explanation. If you are, then please do like, share, subscribe to this YouTube channel for more such quality content. I'll see you in my next video with Act 3, Scene 3. Till then, keep studying, keep smiling, take care, bye-bye.